I'm on the edge of my seat right now watching this call icon go forward. Oh, fantastic. But you guys stoked for this, man? You guys ready to go? I mean, we've got Mr. iNcontroL going to be joining us here as soon as he picks up the call. Very stoked for this, man. Very stoked indeed.
Okay, so Mr. Jeff Robinson himself, iNcontroL, welcome to IMBAtv.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Excited to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad to have it going down, man, and we're here at the Imballonian Star Cup and everything like that. So, how's your day going? Let's start it off that way, Mr. iNcontroL.
It's going well. Just slow start, you know, just kind of respond to emails, respond to PMs, that kind of stuff, and then I get into my practice.
Right on, right on. How long do you normally practice for on a day-to-day basis?
Typical days, anywhere between 8 and 12 hours, something like that.
Right on, right on. Well,
so let's start off with the most recent first. Heart of the Swarm just came out. I don't know if you were at BlizzCon, but definitely some interesting things came out of here. Overall, according to Team Liquid, of course, a lot of the fans did seem happy with both the Terran units and the Zerg units added. But a lot of people were concerned that the new Protoss units added, the Tempest especially, didn't really fix the current issues with Protoss, and a lot of people were concerned that although the Terran issues and Zerg issues were fixed, Protoss kind of got left out a little bit here, and it didn't address the main issues, and obviously the mute to this problem that was supposed to be the Tempest didn't actually fix it because of its somewhat slow movement, people are speculating. What did you think of the Protoss changes? Do you agree with them, disagree, anything you would personally change as well?
Well, one of the points that was brought up on State of the Game that I think is a really good point, I'm trying to adhere to, because my instinct inclination is to have like a scrounged up face and a slightly perturbed demeanor, but as it is, I think what we have to remind ourselves is that this is just their first thought. This is just what they put out for, you know, BlizzCon. Hopefully the numbers do change. I mean, if the battlecruiser can get a red line reactor, then who's to say a Tempest couldn't get a blue line reactor or something like that? I don't know. Maybe it is fast enough to run down mules. We can only hope. But preliminary thoughts are that there's a lot of problems with the units. I think the replicant is pretty cool, but how the hell do you balance something like that? Like it's you can actually make your opponent's units, so who knows what kind of combinations we can come up with, what kind of strategies are going to come out there. It's going to, like Tyler said in the game again, just shut down some builds. Like flat out, you just simply can't do that because they'll replicate 2 or 3 units, and all of a sudden you're facing siege tanks, and you got a bunch of Marines. So who knows? But then there's the Oracle, and then the Tempest, and the Oracle. In my opinion, it just has too much packed into its tight little body. Like, to be able to shut down defenses and then also shut down mining while moving faster than any other Terran or Zerg unit, I think that's pretty problematic. I don't know why I would never have 3 Oracles flying around shutting down bases all game long, right? And I'm trying to envision a game now where it's like the Zerg's on 4 base, I'm on 3, but actually he's on 2.5 base and I'm on 3. You know, like sounds pretty sweet to me. So I mean, if it goes through as it is, okay, Protoss players are probably going to win more. And then the Tempest, like you said, it's supposed to be this like huge anti-air unit, but it's capital class. It comes really late. It's expensive. It's slow moving. So our biggest problem is mutas, and it's not in a straight up fight necessarily. It's the fact that every time we leave our base, the mutas are killing everything, right? And it makes for these weird base trade situations. So who knows? I think the overlying important part we all have to take away from this is it's important to be critical because Blizzard needs that. If everything they introduce we're just like, oh, that's perfect, it's amazing, then I don't think we'd have the game we do today. I think the community can take some responsibility for that as well. But at the same time, I think we have to make sure and inhibit our criticisms with, well, okay, there is time to change things, here's our ideas, and here's where I'd like to see it go kind of stuff.
Yeah, and also in the Dustin Browder interview, he said that some of these units maybe changed a lot, as we've seen before. Blizzard changed them last moment, and also some maybe removed entirely and just replaced with something else. So, you know, that's obviously a possibility. But yeah, some pretty good insight there. And the other one is, obviously, I don't know if you've seen the patch notes, that I'm guessing you probably have, is the 1.4.2 patch, which is due to come out in November, I believe. featuring the Ghost EMP radius being reduced from 2 to 1.5, which apparently really was related to the blanket EMPs being a huge problem for Protoss, because most of the army, even if it doesn't hit the critical units like the High Templars, it's still all the shield gun, which is half the damage soaking ability. But what else do you think about the Protoss upgrades changing, shields becoming more viable? Some people even speculating that Triple Forge may actually be, a real alternative for some people at this point. In the mid game of PvT, for example.
Well, I think one cool effect of that will be that, against Xur, you might not necessarily get armor upgrade anymore. You might just go straight to shield. So if you do double forge, it'd be like ground attack and then also shield upgrade, because that also increases the health, or I guess the durability of buildings as well as airships. So it's an all-encompassing upgrade. There's no reason not to, except for its cost. But if they reduce the cost and make it much more manageable, then I could see a lot of that happening. Against Terran EMPs, although the radius is reduced greatly, they still knock out your shields, they still knock out your mana, so probably don't get shield upgrade. I mean, this could all be completely wrong. Who knows? Maybe it's like the exact opposite. But I don't think you get shields against Terran. And as far as 3 Forge, I guess it's a possibility. I mean, there's definitely going to be people experimenting with it. I myself probably will not. But, in the late game, when I'm at 3 upgrades against Terran, and my buttons, my cursor's hovering over that shield upgrade, and I go, nah, probably not worth it, it'll just EMP me. Now, at a reduced cost, maybe I get it anyways, because it's not like you're always EMP'd, it's just that I don't know that you want to invest that huge investment for the big fight and then get EMP'd, and all of a sudden, you basically said, here's 1,000 minerals, 1,000 gas, I don't need this, that's fine. I'll beat you anyways. So we'll see. It's kind of interesting, though, because, why the upgrades? Nobody's complaining about it. It's a holdover from Brood War. It's the shields are expensive because they're freaking awesome. And then they're like, well, what if we were... I mean, they're trying to balance Protoss. I think it's pretty accepted that Protoss was the weaker race, and they needed a little bit of help. And Blizzard's trying to do that subtly, which is the right approach, by the way. I mean, if they were to be like...
Yeah, definitely.
The Zealot now does 35 damage and has 4 attacks, then, of course, the game would flip on its head, but... And then as far as the radius on the EMP, I'm happy with it. I don't necessarily think that... I mean, they have other proposed changes in HOTS, so they're going to talk about making EMP an upgrade, and they're even talking about the possibility of making it do less than 100 shield/mana damage. Those, I think, are getting closer to the problem, because in late-game TVP, I'm not worried about one ghost EMPing my army. That's more of an early-game thing. I'm worried about those 8 ghosts that he has, blanketing my entire army just numerous times, right?
Yeah. So you think blanketing EMP, well, it's not going to completely get rolled out. It's still going to be a problem, but just not as much as it is now, obviously, because it's a 25% differential.
It's definitely a nerf. So, I mean, I'll take it. It's not like I'm saying, no, that's not good enough, and I don't want it. I'll take it, but I think they need more to do.
Especially considering the very sad win rate percentages graphs we get every day from TLPD every month. But, oh well, all good in the end. So, Josh, one of the casters, the Aftermath, saying, you've been receiving a lot of flack for some of your Twitter posts about playing other games and looking into getting a dog rather than only talking about StarCraft. Do you think it is right for some people to hold you to a standard of not having a life outside of StarCraft? I mean, you're only human, right?
Well, it's not right to hold the standard, but it's understandable that it's there. People don't always watch my stream. They don't know that I'm constantly working StarCraft. So if they're just reading a forum and they're privy to my poor tournament results, and then they see a Twitter about how I'm talking about a different game and I'm excited about these other ones that are coming out, they can make the leap there and go, well, he doesn't practice then, and he, of course he's doing bad. He's not practicing. He's lazy. Which is unfortunate, and, unfortunately, in retrospect, will I keep tweeting just everything that I want to? I don't know. I'll definitely have to put more thought into my tweets, but I wouldn't take that tweet back, because the bottom line is, part of the reason why I'm here is I'm a gamer. For the last 20 years and the next 50,000, hopefully, I will be playing all the exciting games. Like Skyrim coming out, you bet your ass I'll play that game. It looks awesome.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. It's not going to change the fact that I'll still play 10, 12 hours a day of StarCraft. And then the next post, too, that people say, too, is, well, yeah, you're playing 10 to 12 hours, but you're still not winning. What if you cut Skyrim out and now it's 16 hours of practice and then you do start winning? It doesn't work that way. StarCraft, if StarCraft was literally just a mathematical game where it's player X puts in X hours and now they are the greatest, then this would be a very stupid thing that we're all doing, because it's just a question of who has the most time on their hands. It's not that way. I'm in a slump. It's tough. I'm trying to find my way out of it. I'm not a victim to it. I need to work on my mechanics. Some of my strategies I throw out the window when it comes to tournament time, and I start doing stuff that I haven't practiced as much, so it's very much so a mental thing. But I have all the tools in front of me to play at a higher level, and it's not a question of time. I'm putting in more time than 99% of the people that play this game. I mean, Stefano plays 3 to 4 hours a day, and he's better than just about everybody else. So it's obviously, there's a whole bunch of factors going into it, and I'm excited. I enjoy it, and I have fun, and it's just a little bit too bad when the community looks for reasons to kind of hate on stuff. But it happens. I mean, that's a function of the community, too. They want to be critical. They want to be involved.
Right.
And if they're going to be critical and involved with me, then that's just, I mean, that's a byproduct of my fame, and I have to take the good with the bad. It'd be pretty silly if I said all I want is the good, right? That's pretty selfish.
That's true, man. And you got to have the bad to understand the good, overall. Right. And there is a question I wanted to ask here. A little bit of seriousness, though. There's people out there that watch a lot of StarCraft and may not play too much StarCraft because they're afraid to ladder, or this or that, or anxieties about laddering, or they just find themselves not having fun anymore. One of the things I want to say is, one of the things I've been saying since I started StarCraft is, at the end of the day, if you're not playing professionally or not playing to make money, then have fun with the game, because it is, in the end of the day, it's just a game, So my question to you is, iNcontroL, what do you do to motivate yourself to continue to practice and continue to play and actually have fun while you're playing the game, instead of just playing and grinding it out and being frustrated and pissed off all the time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get asked that quite a bit. I really think it's a mindset thing, and this is going to sound like a cliche or a cop-out for a lot of people, but the honest-to-God answer is you can sit down and you can say, I have to win the next 5 games. And when you don't, you go 4-1, 3-2, 2-2, 2-3, whatever,
right.
And you start getting pissed. That's what then rules your mindset. Mm-hmm. So when I sit down and I play and I practice, I say, okay, here's the set of stuff that I want to work on. Here's what I'm looking at. Here's what I know I need to be critical of. My army control needs to be worked on here. I'm getting lazy in PvZ. I'm A moving too much, that kind of stuff. And I really thrive and enjoy the process. Like, if I sat down and played this game and was just always winning, that, of course, is really fun. I wouldn't say that winning is not fun.
Right.
But for me, the fun in it is the puzzle. It's the challenge. It's that
the learning
today
curve,
I didn't do so good. Yeah, and then tomorrow, oh my God, that guy that was beating me, I'm now beating. And, I live for the moments where I'm interacting with these players and they say, okay, well, what do you think about this matchup? And it's just the puzzle of the game. It's really fun to look at it as a journey as opposed to like a one-day event type thing.
Now, keeping all that last question in mind, do you think that maybe Blizzard set up the public laddering system? It's completely different from StarCraft 1 and StarCraft Brood Wars, and it's way more based around full competitiveness. Do you think that may have been a public mistake due to the fact that people who may not be the best of the game right away get that Bronze League and then get deterred from playing overall, or they don't want to learn, or they don't feel it's fun because they just keep on getting cheesed or this or that? Now, do you think they went too competitive in the nature of the actual setup and I guess functionality of StarCraft 2?
That's an interesting question. I'm not quite sure. I think one of the inescapable alienations that occurred with Brood War was that it was such a difficult game, and it was so hyper competitive that a lot of new blood would come to this game and be like, oh, this looks fun, and then get absolutely obliterated, and then they'd be like, well, maybe I can interact with the community. And the community was very niche. It was very closed off, and they were getting kind of cold-shouldered that way. So they were just like, well, fuck this. I don't want to play this because there's just no way that I'm enjoying this. I'm getting my butt kicked and nobody wants to talk to me. So in StarCraft 2, I think Blizzard, for the most part, wisely so, created a tier system where it's like, hey, you're bronze, I'm bronze too. Oh, wow, you're number 1 bronze. at the end of the day, the guy's terrible. I mean, let's not make any mistake about it. Baron's is very, very bad. But he's able to look at that and say, okay, well, I think, you know, I've accomplished something within my skill set. And other people will talk to him about that. There's public chat rooms. There's